Am I the a-hole for telling my sister I won't be asking our dad to go above and beyond for her? My sister is getting married in a few months. She asked our dad and mom's husband to walk her down the aisle and share the father/daughter dance with her. Mom left dad for her husband when I was 6. My sister was 7 and our brother was 5. It devastated dad because he worked so damn hard and thought he had a happy marriage. Instead, his wife was cheating with a guy at work and ended up married to the guy. I never liked how things happened, and will be honest, I have never given my mom's husband much of a chance. I never really saw my mom the same way again either because of how she handled it. But my sister loves our mom's husband and considers him a second dad. So what happened is, she told our dad they were sharing the role and he was all okay. But then she asked him to put aside his hard feelings and not just share that, but deliver a toast with him. Spend the morning getting ready with him to let her have both of them there in those moments. She also wanted him to pay for a joint party, sort of like a second engagement party, where they shared a spotlight and dad's dime. He told her no. He said he loves her and he had to accept she loves mom's husband, but he still hates mom and mom's husband for what they did. And he cannot say he would be good company if he has to spend all that extra time with him. She called him selfish and said he would appreciate that mom's husband was a good father to us. When dad wouldn't give in, she asked me to talk him around. She said that if not for me, then for a man who only won over one of his 3 step-kids, and he will only get one chance to be included as a father and get this kind of love. I told her I loved her, but what she is asking from dad goes above and beyond, and I would not try and talk him into doing this. She told me I was hurting her. I told her she was hurting dad. That she was entitled to love mom's husband, to want what she wants, but she cannot honestly expect dad to just be okay with all this, and she cannot expect me to force his hand. She called me an a-hole and said I am letting dad make this about him instead of her. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Your sister is out of her mind. Congrats to her for being able to accept the changes in her life. Big congrats to you for standing your ground. Your dad is absolutely right in his feelings and should stand his ground. She's asking too much. Also, OP, your sister is wrong about your mother's husband. He hasn't been a good father. If he was, he wouldn't have been in an affair with your mother, breaking up a whole damn family complete with kids. Not today, home. Since your sister is getting married and about to start her family, ask her how she would feel if her fiancé leaves her in 10 years for some broad at the office, and then 20 years later her son asks her to share the motherly duties at his wedding with a woman who helped destroy her family. Gross. You're poor dad. He sounds very generous, loving man to have even accepted her requests to share the walk. Your father is being more than gracious in sharing the walk. It seems your sister wants everyone to get along like there's no history between them, and wants to use her wedding day to bully people into how she wants them to be. It's weird because it's like her sister just wants to change history. She wants everyone to feel like a big happy family even if it isn't so. Or even just pretend. This is like some weird psychological thing going on with her. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for kicking out my daughter after what she did? I have 2 daughters. One is Amy, 33, and the other is Lisa, 31. Lisa got married a couple months ago. She had a hard time in life. She had surgery and got addicted to opioids at 15. She struggled through school for a while, ended up doing a crap ton of things she wasn't proud of, but once we managed to get her proper help, she was fine again. In context, the things she did whilst an addict were really bad. I'm talking ruining family reunions, causing arguments around a house, the works. One example is when Amy was graduating. Lisa didn't want to go, and insisted we both go without her. But this was when she was at the height of her addiction, so we called her grandparents to watch her, and they would take 10 minutes to get to the house. She warned us that if she went, she might cause a scene, but Amy told her to just shut up and come, and she should at least be able to sit through one of the most important moments of her life. Well, she ended up projectile vomiting all over the next 2 rows, then proceeded to break down and wail/cry because of the embarrassment. I left with her whilst my husband stayed to support Amy. Obviously, her sister was furious at her, and when we got home, she promised Lisa that when her graduation came, she'd ruin it for her. Lisa had been off the meds for long before her graduation, and begged us to not let her sister come. We obliged, and told Amy to stay at home or do something else. She was not welcome at the graduation, and graduation went fine. There were a ton of more incidents in the 2 years where she was an addict, but in the end, she got clean, went to a good college, and got a great job. She's well past her addiction now. Now, because Amy never got to ruin her sister's graduation, she's been waiting for another big life moment for her to ruin. If it's relevant, Amy never got to go to college, so that high school graduation was her only graduation. Lisa graduated from college, but only me and her father were able to go because of the distance. Now, the moment that Amy had dedicated herself to ruining is her wedding. Lisa is often sensitive at life events. She has some issues she's working through with a therapist on the side. She thought that Amy would be over the high school graduation issue, and Amy pretended like she was. But then in the dressing room right before Lisa was meant to walk down the aisle, Amy took her aside and started insulting everything about her. I had gone to the bathroom at this time. She called her fat, she said her dress made her look like a pathetic, cheap woman, that her husband was constantly looking at other women's bodies. She went on and on until Lisa was on the ground in tears. Her makeup was ruined, no one was there to fix it, and the wedding was ruined. Lisa walked down the aisle still crying. After this, I told the family what Amy had done, and no one's talking to her. I kicked her out and told her not to come back, because she was a vile human being who can't let anything go. She has nowhere else to go now because she can't afford any other house. Am I the a-hole? From the picture you've painted here, it sounds like you've alienated Amy for the last 15 years or so, while giving Lisa the extra attention and support she needed. And it sounds like you've consistently, all three of you, sided against Amy on every issue. While I never would have done what you did, I honestly can't say I wouldn't be harboring serious resentment against all three of you as well if I had been in Amy's position. You straight up said she wasn't wanted at her sister's graduation. Whatever she was feeling over the embarrassment Lisa caused her at what sounds like the only major event she's ever had to be about her, you don't think that didn't seriously compound the issue? Damn, you're the a-hole. Lisa was a 15-year-old who accidentally got addicted to opioids. A tragedy, really. And while in an incredibly vulnerable state, she made grave mistakes. But she was still only a child. Amy wasn't wanted at a graduation because she literally said she would ruin it, which could truly affect Lisa's recovery. And although you are right that Amy suffered too, at the wedding she, a 33-year-old woman, acted with such cruelty and evil, ruining her sister's wedding because she couldn't forgive something her 15-year-old sister did. Which wasn't her fault really, getting addicted with pills given by doctor for medical reasons. While I do believe the parents are a-holes for not properly dealing with it all, she fully deserved to be kicked out. Also, I think it's worth noting that Lisa didn't want to make a scene at her sister's graduation and didn't do it on purpose for attention. Her vomiting over 2 rows of seating is because Amy pushed her into attending and refused to wait 10 minutes for grandparents to turn up and look after her sister, who was feeling unwell. If she were ill with norovirus or food poisoning, the same would apply. She wasn't feeling well, was pressured into attending, and predictably suffered an embarrassing accident. Not to mention, it sounds like most of the times the parents have sided with Lisa against Amy are purely because of this ongoing quest for revenge that Amy has been driven by. You're the a-hole. Not because you kicked out Amy, but because you kind of failed as a parent. Don't you realize that Amy wasn't only upset about a graduation? She can't let it go and was holding a grudge for all these years because it's not just about a graduation. Having an addict in the family causes stress, discomfort, pain, and suffering. And you failed to realize the impact it had on Amy. That's on you. A lot of people here slamming the 33-year-old for being a grown adult, but she obviously never matured. There's a lot of missing context in Opie's story. I'm sure Amy was the glass child, as someone posted above, and continued to be through adulthood. I bet Opie focuses on Lisa every time they visit, asking her about her sobriety and taking an active interest in her life and education to help her maintain sobriety. Which is great for Lisa, but I'm betting Amy did not get such attention as she didn't even get to go to college. I bet, but your sister is an addict, she needs this, was something she heard often. Both girls need deep therapy. Everyone sucks here, but Opie is a special a-hole in my opinion. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my dad that I'm not his replacement wife? My female 16 mom passed away recently. My brother, male 14, and dad are so devastated by this tragic loss, and we are all struggling. I've basically found myself handling all chores and work around the house. My brother is too traumatized, he hasn't been talking since the funeral, and my dad hasn't been lifting a finger and do a single thing. He started making requests, from cleaning the messy living room, he sleeps on a couch, to picking up dirty laundry to doing dishes, cooking or ordering food, walking the dogs, vacuuming, doing repairs, mowing the lawn, washing the car since my brother stopped doing it. I'm too exhausted oftentimes. Mom used to do the chores that I used to help. But I have school and after-school commitments, and my dad keeps negatively commenting on how I get things done, and compare me to mom like how much time I take to make breakfast, etc. Yesterday, he woke me up at 6 a.m. even though he told me to skip school and wanted me to make breakfast. I scrambled eggs and prepared other dishes, then went to wake my brother up. I sat at the table, and once Dad sits down, he looks at the scrambled eggs and goes, "What is this? This is not the right way to make scrambled eggs. Your mother used to make perfect scrambled eggs. Did you not learn anything from her at all? How are we supposed to survive if you can't even properly make scrambled eggs?" Then he looks at my brother and says, "We're doomed." I snapped and loudly tell him I'm not his replacement wife to expect me to do this and that for him. He looks at me stunned, and my brother rushes out immediately. Dad starts telling me how cruel and insensitive what I just said, and how out of line I was. I replied that I was too tired to make the perfect scrambled eggs my mom used to make, and that maybe if he as a parent had tried to learn, we wouldn't be suffering right now. He gets up, throws the towel, and walks out. My aunt came to visit, and when I told her, she went off saying I should have never said that to my grieving dad, and that I should be ashamed of myself for talking to him like that. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. Expecting your kids to help out more after losing one adult in the house is fine. Expecting them to act as another parent in the house is mistreatment. My condolences for your loss, Opie. Thank you so much for your support. I did help when Mom was alive, but now it's just me doing everything around the house. I obviously cannot ask my depressed brother to help, and Dad just expects everything to be done, although it doesn't work. Just don't. He's the parent. Tell him to start acting like it. If your brother gets to grieve, so do you. Don't tolerate that sexist nonsense. Your family needs grief therapy immediately. He didn't go when my uncle suggested it and stopped him from taking me and my brother, claiming that my uncle is preventing us from grieving naturally and processing our emotions in a normal way. Not today, home. There's this thing called parentification. Your tale is a textbook example. Your dad is an insensitive a-hole, and your family dynamics cannot be brushed aside with a "but they're grieving" excuse. He lost his wife, sure. Your brother lost his mom, yes. But did you suddenly not lose your mom as well? Or does that not count because you emerged into the world with 2 X chromosomes? Reset your boundaries with your family, and do not allow them to overstep again, or this will be the rest of your natural life. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to pay for my husband's funeral? I know this sounds weird, but let me explain. My husband and I married in 2018 after dating for almost 2 years. Shortly after getting married, my mother got sick, so we moved out of state so that I could take care of her. He was not too happy about this, but he moved with me. He didn't like the new state we were in, and he quickly stopped working and providing for our household. It got to the point where I was working 2 jobs and still caring for my mother, and I was fed up. I told him that I couldn't carry on like this. He told me that he never wanted to move in the first place, and that he would be on the first flight back home. He told me he would leave the 1 car we had as a parting gift, when in reality I was the one paying the car notes and insurance. He left the state and I filed for a legal separation. The state I was in required that you were separated for a year before you could officially file. I waited my time and tried to get papers sent to his mother's house, the place I knew he was because I have family that told me that's where he was. He claims he never received them. My mother got better and I decided to stay because I had found a really great job that turned into an actual career. I tried on 4 different occasions to have him serve the papers, but he always dodged me. I got so discouraged that I gave up. I've completely moved on and I want to start anew with someone else, but this is just looming over me. I was in the process of getting a lawyer when I got a call from his aunt saying that he has passed away, and basically it's up to me to plan the funeral arrangements. I feel like this is BS. This man left me and even had a child with another woman, but I'm expected to foot the bill because I'm legally married to him even though I tried multiple times to end it? Am I the a-hole for not wanting to be part of any of it? His family wants a burial, and if this is something I have to do, I will cremate him and have his family do what they want with the ashes. I don't give a crap if they want a burial. They don't want to pay for it. Thanks in advance for the advice. Now for the top comments before the little update. Not the a-hole. Donate his body to science. Not the a-hole. You could play a modified version of the 2 card play. Card 1, they deal with all the expenses for whatever funeral they want. Card 2, you claim the body, have it sent an undisclosed mortuary where you arrange for him to be cremated, and then you have the ashes legally disposed of in a location that will remain undisclosed. Their choice. If they want to play the "you're the wife" card, you can do whatever you want. What they want won't matter in the least. This is the way. Make it very clear to them that cremation with no service is all you will pay for if they plan to force this on you. Not today, home. It might be worth checking with that lawyer right now to see if you have any legal obligations, since you are still legally married. This might mean that you also have legal rights to anything like a survivor's pension or insurance, or any portion of the estate if that existed. You can definitely refuse the family. You don't owe them a funeral. If you somehow have a legal obligation to pay for disposal of the body, then inform the family that you will be paying for the most basic, no-frills cremation package with no service, no wake, no plot, no headstone. They're welcome to pay for any additional services that they want, even though if they could afford this, they probably wouldn't be reaching out to you. On the upside, a cremation might be cheaper than lengthy divorce proceedings. Updates and a little more info. I've decided to get in touch with a lawyer to see my options. We didn't have a lot of assets. We sold our house before we moved out of state. So as far as I know, we didn't have a will or anything. But if there's something I do get, I'm almost certain it's not much and I would rather it go towards his daughter. She's not even one, and I spoke with her mother and she was under the impression that he was divorced. They had even filled out paperwork to get married, but she left it up to him to file it since she was pregnant and tired. And of course, he never did it. I just want to cut all ties with his family and live my life. I don't want to fight family members for money. So I will give them one last time to make their own arrangements. And if they refuse, I will do what I want with the body.
Update. My 36 female ex-husband, 38 male, always told me he didn't want kids, but got a new woman, 23 female, pregnant within weeks of our split. He now wants me to be an auntie to their baby and let them use my house. How do I begin to process this, and what do I tell him? Original post. My husband and I recently divorced after about 2 years of marital issues. He admitted to falling out of love with me. It hit me hard, primarily because I had always been the one to support and nurture him while he was often distant and uninterested. But in any case, and despite my heartbreak, I was relieved after 2 years of troubles to be divorced. I kept the house, I owned it anyway, and he moved to the next town over. Our divorce was finalized just a few weeks ago, and not even a week after he left, I started hearing rumors of my ex out with a new woman. A lot of people I'd considered friends seemed to eat up the gossip around this and excitedly posted online about it like it meant nothing. Suffice it to say, they aren't my friends anymore. But through them, I did end up hearing about my ex moving his new 23-year-old girlfriend into his place. Those rumors were confirmed after his sister, who I've always gotten along with, texted me about visiting them. She noted how weird it felt to see him all over his much younger girlfriend, laughing like nothing happened. It was also quite clear to me that my husband had almost certainly met and begun something with this woman while we were still married. I deleted a lot of my social media accounts and tried to just ignore all the goings-on and mind my business. I didn't expect to hear from my ex for a long time, at the very least, but he called a few days later sounding very excited. He hit me with the news that his girlfriend was pregnant. For context, I'd wanted children with him for years, but he'd always said no, that he didn't want them and wasn't ready. I asked him over the phone what was different this time. He hesitated and said he hadn't wanted our kids to be mistreated by society for looking different. I'm black and he's white, and his new girlfriend is also white, so that can only be a comment about race. During the call, he told me he'd really love me to be an active part of his child's life and be an auntie to them. I was pretty much speechless, and he continued by asking if he, his girlfriend, who would love to meet me, and eventually their baby, could come over to use the pool and barbecue at my house sometimes because it was too big for just one person. I was so mad I put the phone down and ignored all his texts asking me where I'd gone. His entitlement, on top of everything else, was staggering to me. It's been another week or so and I haven't responded yet. I told my family and friends about it, and they were all horrified by the endless bombs my ex dropped on me. His family is actually being incredibly kind and supportive of me, and also think he's lost his mind. I spoke to his mother the other day, and she said her son had been relentlessly calling, trying to get his parents to come over and meet his new girlfriend and eventually attend scans with them. The whole thing is like a bad dream, and I have no idea how to begin articulating myself. What do you guys think I should do? Continue with the silent treatment and just move on with my life? Or do I tell him where to get off? Now for the top comments before reading the update. Absolutely move on with your life. This sounds incredibly possessive and manipulative on his part, and I think cements how he sees you, an accessory to his life as opposed to someone he was committed to and shared a life with. Stay no contact and move on. You deserve better. After all the stuff prior, I'm blown away that he now wants to use the house. I don't think he cares about having me as an auntie. He probably just wants to take advantage of what I've got here. My sister-in-law's ex-husband is the same way, expects free range of the house with his current girlfriend in tow. Sister-in-law had to change the locks because he would just show up under the guise of, "My kids are here, so I'm allowed to be in here whenever I want." It sounds like he expects you to be as happy for him as he is for himself. You need to feel free to tell him to pound sand. Girl, tell him to F off and block him. Who the heck does he think he is? Also the race comment? Ew. This man is deep in his midlife crisis. Getting a 23-year-old pregnant and then daring to ask if you want to be an auntie? What a loser. And telling OP that her home is too big for one person, so she should share it with them? The entitlement, wow. He'd probably missing her paycheck too. Doubtful a 23-year-old makes anywhere near as much as a mid-30s homeowner of a big house and pool. Now for the update. So, I thought ignoring him would send a message. I genuinely believe that after putting the phone down and not responding to his texts, he'd eventually take the hint and leave me alone. I was wrong. Since that initial call where he blindsided me with the pregnancy news and casually asked if he, his 23-year-old girlfriend, and their unborn child could come swim in my pool and barbecue in my backyard because it's too big for just one person, his behavior has only gotten more delusional. First came the follow-up texts. "I don't get why you're being like this. We were best friends once. I thought you'd be happy for me. You always said you wanted to be a mom. This is kind of the next best thing, isn't it? And the baby could have so much love if you just let go of the past." I blocked him, but he found other ways. He started emailing me, long rambling paragraphs filled with emotional manipulation. He wrote about our history and how he always appreciated my warmth and how the baby would benefit from someone like me in their life. I almost threw up reading that. And then the guilt tripping began. He told his mother, who bless her, is firmly on my side, that I was abandoning him in his most important chapter, and that I was being spiteful by cutting him off. According to her, he's been moping around, acting like I wronged him, saying things like, "I just wanted her to feel like she was still part of the family." Still part of the family? The same man who told me, after years of refusing to have children with me, that he didn't want mixed-race kids being mistreated by society, now suddenly wants me to come play step-aunt to his white child with his barely legal girlfriend. Then he sent me this email. In it, he apologized for not being ready to love the way you needed back then, but said this new relationship healed him, and he wants to do things right this time, starting with building a village around the baby. That village, apparently, includes me. The audacity is unbelievable. The final straw came when a mutual acquaintance texted me to say my ex had been asking around to see if anyone was still friends with me. He was trying to get someone else to reach out on his behalf because he's worried about me. Classic manipulation. Make it sound like he's concerned, when really, he just can't handle being shut out. Let me be clear, I don't want to be cruel. I've tried to handle all of this with maturity, but there is a limit, and he sprinted past it weeks ago. I'm not responding to him. I'm not entertaining delusions of being an auntie. I'm not opening up my home, the one I owned before him, to play happy family with a man who betrayed me. And I've spoken to a lawyer about a cease and desist if this continues. The one small blessing in this nightmare is how supportive his own family has been. His mother told me she thinks he's having a midlife crisis, or maybe just always was this selfish and entitled, and now it's finally out in the open. Anyway, thank you all for the messages of support and validation. I needed them more than I realized. As for what's next, I'm focusing on my peace, my healing, my life. And if he ever shows up at my house, let's just say I'll be calling the police before offering sunscreen and burgers. Next story. Update. Am I the a-hole for finally snapping at my ex's girlfriend after constant passive-aggressive comments? Original post. This happened earlier today, and I'm still kind of stewing over it, so I need to know if I overreacted or if it was justified. I, 29 female, was invited to a friend's barbecue. My ex Jake, 30 male, and I broke up about 2 years ago. It was mutual. We both agreed we weren't right for each other long term, and since we share a close friend group, we've stayed civil and occasionally see each other at gatherings. It's usually fine. Jake's been dating Sophie, 26 female, for about 6 months. I don't know her well, but every time we've been around each other, she seems to go out of her way to make little passive-aggressive jabs at me. Stuff like, "Wow, you're still single? That's brave." Or, "Must be nice having so much free time without kids." I've always let it slide to avoid drama. A bit more info. Even though we broke up, there have been multiple moments where it's obvious Jake isn't fully moved on. For one, he still finds excuses to text me random stuff, like sending memes or asking about old inside jokes we had. He'll accidentally bring up memories from when we were together when we're in a group, or mention songs and places that meant something to us. On top of that, a few mutual friends have let slip that he's told them he still has feelings, or at least isn't fully over our relationship. Nothing inappropriate while he's with Sophie, as far as I know, but it's clear there are lingering feelings there. And I think Sophie might sense it too, which is probably part of the reason she's so weirdly hostile toward me. Back to the story, today Sophie was at it again. Every time I was within earshot, she'd drop little digs like, "Some people just can't move on, huh?" Or, "Guess it takes some people longer to grow up." I ignored it for hours. But then toward the end of the night, she made another comment. Well, not everyone can handle being in a healthy relationship. That was it for me. I turned to her and said, "You're right, it takes a special kind of person to date a guy still hung up on his ex." It went dead silent. Sophie looked stunned, Jake looked beyond uncomfortable, and a couple of our friends awkwardly tried to change the subject. I left soon after because I didn't want things to get worse. She was making digs at me all night, and I finally stood up for myself. But part of me feels like maybe I went too far by throwing that in her face, even though it's true. I never planned to use what Jake said or done like that, and now I wonder if I made it unnecessarily messy. So Reddit, am I the a-hole for finally snapping at my ex's girlfriend after constant passive-aggressive comments? Now for the top comments before reading the update. Not the a-hole. She effed around and found out. Also, if she is so happy in her new relationship, she wouldn't work so hard to bring another woman down. I don't think a healthy relationship involves one partner constantly making digs at their ex. Seems like you're a little obsessed there, sweetie. While I think it was right OP finally said something, I also think that this was the wrong thing to say. She dragged her ex into the argument. This might be the point where he says that he never wants to see OP again, and this will destroy the friend group. A dig against her would have been better, like when she was telling you about your freedom without kids. You could have said something like, "At least I know how birth control works," or something like that. Hope you can find a way to have a civil relationship with your ex now. Maybe apologize to him for dragging him into it and tell him why you did that. Does he know what she is saying? Not the a-hole, but I hope you haven't nuked your whole friend group. Not the a-hole. She was asking for it. Good job sticking up for yourself. Yeah, but Jake wasn't asking for it, and she embarrassed him probably more than the girlfriend. It doesn't say anywhere that Jake was aware of the snide comments, and from experience, people who act like this girlfriend are sneaky enough to fly under the radar of the person they're with. OP should have made a comment just about the girlfriend and left Jake and his feelings out of it. Now the whole friend group could be awkward depending on how Jake handles it. He deserves it because he shouldn't be in a relationship with someone new when he's still pining away for someone else. He's stringing her along. That's not cool. Of course she doesn't feel secure about their bond when her boyfriend clearly has romantic feelings for someone else. No woman wants to be a placeholder. She should have some self-respect and leave, instead of misdirecting her anger at OP. But he shouldn't be letting her or any woman fall in love with him until he's ready to properly love someone back. Now for the update. Hey again, Reddit. Just wanted to post a quick update since a lot happened. Well, I'm still kind of processing it, but it feels worth sharing. So, after I left the barbecue and posted, I got a flurry of texts from mutual friends, mostly along the lines of, "Damn, that was awkward, but also overdue." Apparently, everyone noticed Sophie's digs throughout the day, and more than one person told me they were surprised I lasted as long as I did before finally saying something. Jake, for what it's worth, hasn't said a single word to me. Not an apology, not a, "Hey, that was a lot," nothing. Radio silence. But I did get a very long, very dramatic message from Sophie last night, basically accusing me of trying to sabotage her relationship and calling me emotionally manipulative. I didn't respond. I don't see the point, especially because here's the kicker. I've actually been seeing someone for a few months now. His name's Daniel. He's thoughtful, mature, low drama, and most importantly, not still caught up on an ex. We've been keeping things fairly private while we found our footing, but last night, after the chaos of the barbecue, I posted a pic of us to the friend group chat. Just us smiling at a coffee shop, totally normal. Within the hour, Sophie left the chat. Make of that what you will. Anyway, Daniel has been incredibly supportive about everything. And honestly, I think seeing that photo and realizing that I have 100% moved on was the final crack in whatever illusion Sophie was holding onto. One of our mutuals mentioned that things were not going well between her and Jake, which, yeah, that tracks. So yeah, I don't feel bad about what I said anymore. Maybe I could have been softer, but sometimes the truth is sharp and people don't like how it feels. Thanks again for all the responses. Reading through the comments really helped me feel like I wasn't just being petty or reactive. I'm good now. Actually, I'm better than good. And Daniel brings me coffee and emotional security, so that's a win. Last story. Am I the a-hole for publicly bringing up a co-worker's divorce and causing her embarrassment? I'm a 29-year-old guy working at a mid-sized tech company. One of my co-workers, let's call her Jessica, is 37. We've worked together for about 2 years and generally get along. Casual banter, team lunches, the usual. She's sharp, stylish, and definitely has a presence. But she also has a bit of a snobbish streak, especially when it comes to money and status. A few days ago, a group of us were hanging out after work at a rooftop bar, just decompressing, swapping stories, and enjoying drinks. My wife and I got married last year, and somehow the topic of engagement rings came up. Everyone started sharing proposal stories. When it was my turn, I proudly pulled out a photo of the ring I gave my wife, a 1.1 carat lab-grown diamond in a gold setting. Cost just over $2,000. It was exactly what she wanted, and I was thrilled to get her something she loved, without needing to go into debt. Jessica leaned over to look at the photo. That's when things shifted. "How is that only $2K?" she asked, squinting. "It's a lab diamond," I replied. "Same look and quality, just not mined." She rolled her eyes and gave a little scoff. "Oh, well, mine's a real 3-carat diamond. I'm not into the cheap, fake stuff." The air got tense. Everyone kind of paused, waiting to see how I'd respond. And without really thinking, I said, "Hey, you were married for 3 years, right? So that's 1 carat per year. Tell the next guy to aim for a 40-carat one, for the long haul." The table exploded. People were laughing. One coworker almost spit out their drink, and even a senior manager choked on his beer trying not to lose it. Jessica, she didn't laugh. Her lips tightened into a forced smile, and she stayed quiet for the rest of the night. I figured maybe it hit a little harder than I intended, but come on, she threw shade first. The next morning, I was grabbing coffee in the break room when Jessica came in. She waited until the room cleared out before walking up to me. "Hey," she said flatly, "about last night, what you said was really rude." I blinked. "Wait, the carrot choke?" "Yes," she said, arms crossed. I was just making a comment. You didn't have to humiliate me in front of everyone. I took a breath, realizing she wasn't brushing it off like the others. Look, I didn't mean to offend you, but you kind of started it with the fake stuff comment. I was just defending my wife's ring. She didn't respond immediately, just gave me this look somewhere between annoyed and maybe even hurt. Then she turned and walked out. Now I'm stuck wondering, was I out of line? Or was it just an office roast that went a bit too real? Now for the comments. You can argue about if OP is an a-hole or not, but the coworker was one for sure. I feel like this is one of those justified a-hole moments. OP probably was a slight a-hole, but coworker was a bigger one who started it, so... Totally agree. This feels like a classic case of you poked the bear and got bit. Coworker messed around and found out. OP might have been a little spicy, but it was deserved. Nope, she sucks. I wouldn't have done this at work, because now you've stooped to her level and risked your own potential reputation as someone that can control their emotions and act rationally. She deserved it though. To be honest, it actually did the opposite. One of the department bosses came around and gave me a fist bump. Guess people were impressed with my burn lol. Diamonds are by far the best scam program ever devised by Madison Avenue. The campaign for natural diamonds over lab ones is a close second. Like they're really out here convincing us to buy the slave diamonds. It's the suffering that makes it special. Update. He cheated. He really cheated. Original post. I'm on mobile and typing through my tears. Yesterday, I, 26 female, got a hey girly DM from an old college friend Gina, 27 female, about my husband Rick, 28 male. As far as I knew, she was living a different city, but apparently she moved to our city like 8 months ago. She sent me screenshots of their messages and their sexts, and had selfies of them after they hooked up. I've been busy at work and admittedly not spending as much time at home, but he's the love of my life, and I never thought he could do something like this. I confronted Rick and he admitted it right away. He said it was supposed to be a one-time thing. He and Gina met up for dinner when she moved, but things progressed, so they started dating. Yes, dating. She had no idea about me. He doesn't post me on his socials because his online presence is dedicated to his personal fitness business. So she just assumed he was a fit, handsome, single guy? He never mentioned me once. It was only when Gina started mentioning marriage and kids that Rick got nervous and dodgy and mentioned trouble with his ex-wife if they were to get married. The ex-wife, being me, his wife of 4 years. Drum roll, she's 3 months pregnant. Thinking they were exclusive, she hasn't slept with anyone else, which means the baby is his. She Googled my name and found out that not only were we together, we were freaking married. 4 years of marriage, 3 more years of dating, down the drain. I told Rick to get the heck out, and he tried to argue, but he knew he had no chance. He's staying at a friend's house, and after lurking on Reddit for so long, I texted him my entire reason for kicking him out, and he sent an apology reply admitting to everything, so I have it all in writing. I'm still messaging Gina. She feels totally awful about the whole situation, and I really feel for her. We've actually become close in the last day or two, as weird as that sounds, but we're both in the middle of some trauma, and leaning on each other has helped. I'm leaving him if that wasn't clear. Gina has also said she wants nothing to do with Rick, except child support. I texted him to come over tomorrow to talk, and he said he would, and I contacted a lawyer this morning and sent her everything I have. She replied after about 2 hours and said this case wouldn't be a problem. Basically, it was a slam dunk. She also offered to mention the case to a colleague in family court, but Gina hasn't made her mind up about that yet. She's just as overwhelmed about this as I am. I'm just grateful I didn't have kids with this son of a bitch, and I'm still young and hot while Rick's a gross cheating cheater. Anyway, not really looking for advice here. I'm aware of my way forward, just wanted to get this off my chest. Now for the top advice before reading the updates. I wish you a safe and glorious reintroduction to singlehood. Be happy. The thought of being back in the dating pool is hard, but he always said how lucky he was to have me, and I internalized that. I'm more confident than ever being single after all this time. I doubt Gina isn't going to accept his apologies. There's a child involved. Don't get too close to her or tell her anything of substance. Yes, be careful. If she's not ready to talk with a lawyer at this point, she may end up marrying him after your divorce is finalized. She'll probably argue that she really hates his guts, but everyone makes mistakes, and her baby deserves to grow up with two parents, so she'll give it a try for the baby's sake. How do I know? Let's just say that I dealt with that for over a decade at a prior job. No matter how much they claim to hate him, they'll sacrifice and keep the dude, so baby won't grow up without a father. Oh yeah, you better believe he will be working both sides to see who's stupid enough to take him back. And looks like it's not OP. Just let the baby mama backstabber know that you lose him like you get him. Good for you, although I'd be wary of trauma bonding his baby mama. You're cultivating a situation where you're going to be a part of his affair child's life. Wish her well and be on your way. There's so many other people out there to get support from apart from his literal affair partner, regardless of her guilt. What, are you gonna help plan her baby shower and hold her hand during birth? Good luck, man. May he have a miserable life. That's such a good point. I think for now it's okay, but I'll certainly be limiting my contact with her for the reasons you have given. Thanks. She could also be gathering information for your soon-to-be ex. You need to be careful here. Be smart. Edit. I genuinely thank you all for the advice regarding Gina. I'll be cutting contact after she gets her test results back. Edit 2. You all were right. Gina is up to something. Tomorrow, once I've had some sleep, I'll update further, but thank you all for your advice. Now for the first update. Well, what an update I have for you all. Last night, I got into a huge argument with Rick over the phone, talking about how I'm a bitch for breaking up with him, and plenty of other nasty things. Through the night, I was anxious and insomniac, so as per so much of your advice, I started distancing myself from Gina. She sensed this and things blew up. She went into a rage and told me she had known about me. She knew I got married through mutual friends on Instagram. My profile is private, but friends and family posted about the wedding, so Gina saw our wedding photos. Gina texted me this morning after waking up to so many texts. She called me a fake bitch who makes up circumstances and lies about details. I blocked her after that. In my post and my texts, I was as accurate as possible without divulging too many details. I was also feeling petty from lack of sleep, so I did tag Rick in an IG story, telling everyone he was a cheater, and a few people responded saying they unfollowed or blocked him. I deleted it after 3 hours, but I know there were screenshots taken and the damage has been done. He called early this morning asking to talk, but I said everything was better said over text. So I had receipts, and he obliged. He basically said he'd accept divorce, and he'd give me almost everything I asked for, namely our TV and my car, since he'd contributed to some payments. We don't have many flashy things other than our gaming consoles, and neither of us are interested in the others. This obviously wasn't legally binding, but I'd imagine it's good ammo in the divorce. Rick came by before work to get a bunch of his things, and we were able to talk face to face. He apologized and asked, almost begged, for my forgiveness. Remembering comments about my dignity, I politely but firmly declined. He actually took this pretty well and asked me if I had any questions. I asked him, what the heck happened? According to Rick, Gina contacted him before she even moved. As many suspected she knew about me from the beginning, but simply didn't care. She didn't say outright that she was trying to get pregnant, but she gloated to her friends about having unprotected sex with Rick many times, so it's definitely suspicious as heck. He said he just couldn't resist her. To be quite frank, Reddit, I'm hotter than her, there's no question. That is the one thing about this whole situation that brings me a bit of light. Oh, and as predicted by so many of you, Gina and Rick are apparently still in a relationship. They're planning on keeping the baby and, get this, 2 or 3 hours after I wrote this out, he posted the gender reveal on his public Instagram. Like I never freaking existed. He's trying to get rent money from me, but there's not a chance in hell I'll be giving a cent to him. In fact, I'll be taking nearly everything. He knows he doesn't stand a chance at getting any of the furniture that I paid for or the vinyls I bought. Screw him. So many comments gave great advice, and I'm so grateful. I've officially cut off Gina, and I'm in the process of cutting off Rick outside the divorce. I'm living comfortably by myself in our apartment. I have a decent salary so I can afford it, but I let our landlord know that I'll be ending the lease in 2 months. He has a studio available, but I'm not sure I'll take it. For now, I'm in contact with my lawyer who says this whole process can be done in 6 months if everything goes well. I have a ton of hope for my future, and I truly appreciate all of you who commented on my first post. I might post a further update, or I might not. Regardless, I will get a happy ending and I'll be able to start fresh without him. Good riddance. Thank you for the update. You were smart to keep most of your contact with them on text, so you have proof of their actions. Gina tried to play girl's girl and make herself look good, but it was all so flimsy. She and your ex deserve each other. Guarantee he'll cheat again. They always do. Now it's time for you to live your best life. I know you're heartbroken and you need to heal. Do everything you love to do. Watch all the shows. Go dancing. Eat all the good food. Travel with friends. Survive and thrive while they try living down their appalling actions and life choices. Yes, cheaters cheat. Bet their relationship will blow up sometime in the next 5 years. Be sure to tell her to enjoy your rejected sloppy seconds. Ma'am, you didn't take my man. You took my problem. What I don't understand is why would he be begging for forgiveness if they were already planning on being together and keeping the baby? Or was that contingent on if you forgave him and took him back or not? If it was, then she was the backup plan. She was the backup plan. Well, honestly, his plan was probably to get me to forgive him and continue to cheat. Not happening. No way. Second update. Hey, wanted to give a quick update before I leave this account for a while. We'll perhaps check in periodically after a few drinks lol. Divorce is in the works. Gina is still pregnant. Rick's things are out of my house. To say my landlord understood would be an understatement. And I'm able to stay in my current place. Spoiler, I'm gonna end up on top. Sorry this isn't the juicy update some of you were anticipating, but the fact remains that I'm better for this whole crap show, and moving on means becoming stronger. Thanks for all your support, everyone. I've kept this login info, so I hope to update you. Reminder, you're loved and you matter. Love always. Third update. 9 months later. Hey y'all, just found this account again after months, so I figured I'd give an update. Quick recap. My ex cheated with a friend of mine from college, and she got pregnant, and it was his. She reached out to me to let me know because, apparently, she hadn't known about me before. Then it came out that she planned this. Honestly, it was a pretty painless divorce. He didn't fight for much since I bought most of our stuff. I left our place after my lease was up and moved about 4 hours away. My work is remote now, so it wasn't a hard transition, and I got to move closer to a lot of loved ones. Rick and Gina are still together, and they had their baby not too long ago. I don't keep up with their lives anymore for my own peace. I've been dating around a bit, but not much. I've been going to therapy and working through a lot of the trust issues that came from this, but it's a slow process, so I'm not in any kind of place to be in a serious relationship. I am happy though. I don't worry about things as much. I'm able to get more work done, and I'm able to have more meaningful fun with the people I love. It's a rather boring but an overwhelmingly positive update. Thanks for reading my story. Congrats on picking yourself up and healing through this trauma. You will be a better version of yourself from the experience. Oh, he's 100% gonna cheat on her too, if he isn't already. I still remember that part where he told you I couldn't resist, like he tripped and fell into someone else's bed. He's a gym trainer, surrounded by sweaty temptation in tight yoga shorts and pants all day long. She didn't steal your man. She stole your problematic trash that she mistook for treasure. Don't be surprised if he has cheated on her. He has resentment built since he got caught. Baby mama ruined his nice life. Knowing he is a gym trainer, he's aware he downgraded per OP's word. Even if baby mama found out he cheated, she isn't the type to leave with their kid. Hence more incentive for him to cheat on his baby mama. Baby mama thinks she won, but in the long run, she will be miserable. Okay, so I wasn't gonna comment, but that part about finally not worrying about things as much? Damn, I forgot what that felt like until I read this. It's wild how when you're with someone who makes you anxious all the time, you don't even realize it until they're gone and suddenly you can just breathe? Like you're not constantly checking your phone or wondering where they are or why they seemed off at dinner. The therapy for trust issues thing hits different too. Everyone acts like you should just get back out there. But nobody talks about how you literally flinch when someone new texts you late at night. Or how you catch yourself going through their followers like a freaking detective because your brain is still in survival mode. Anyway, OP, you're doing it right. Boring updates where you're just, okay? Those are the best ones, to be honest. Last story. My husband told me he settled for me. I was a single mom of 2 when I met my husband. My husband is 9 years older than me. I was 33 when we got married. I'm 41 now. My kids are grown and out of the house now too. My husband got drunk and revealed terrible things that I wish I just didn't know. He married me because he didn't want to die alone. He only had 2 relationships, 3 total if you include me. He's not attracted to women that look like me. He said I'm overweight, and he was very underwhelmed by my appearance, but he learned to love me on the inside because even though I'm ugly on outside, I'm so beautiful on the inside. And that's what makes me different from the other girls. And the way he said that to me, he made it sound so genuine, like he was saying something so sweet and romantic to me. But it's like, dude, you don't realize you just called your wife ugly? Like, wow, what? I cried so much that night. He did apologize so much since that happened, but I can't get out of my head that my husband thinks he's too good for me. He also said in no world he thought he would ever marry a single mom and basically be a cuck and be a dad to someone else's kids. But he said he didn't want to die alone and I was his only option. So he took on my baggage. I think my husband thinks he deserves better because he's not overweight and he's more financially stable than most guys. I feel like that he thinks he deserves a hot 22-year-old girl with no kids. I don't know, honestly. But it does hurt me that he thinks I'm ugly, and he just married me because he didn't want to die alone. I've had people tell me to get over it and everyone settles, but I have a hard time believing that every married couple settles. Now for the advice. Holy hell, be prepared for the I was drunk, I didn't mean it. And honestly, walk. There is no coming back from this that doesn't include excuses and justifications. You've got one shot at this life. Don't spend it like this. He did apologize the next day about everything, and he said that he shouldn't have said it like that. He didn't really take back anything that he said. It was more so insinuating to the fact that he just shouldn't have said it so bluntly the way he did. He says he fell in love with me for my personality and the person I am on the inside. He says it's basically like the show Love is Blind. He doesn't care anymore that I'm ugly, and he grew to fall in love with me for me. I would let him die alone. At least OP has her kids. He deserves nothing. And glad you married someone more financially well off too. It'll compensate you for the time and the lies he left you with. This is really sad for you. I'm sorry. You'll never see him the same again. Don't even try. Just go see a really great lawyer to make sure you are provided for. I guess his ultimate fear will come true. Let him die alone. We know why he has had so few relationships. He's not bringing as much to the table as he thought. Funny how he settled, but couldn't convince anyone on his range to be with him. What a loser. Wouldn't be surprised that, if you leave him, he'll start dating way younger girls. Only in his mind, though. He'd just be another sugar daddy for those girls. Exactly. He's delusional. If he could have done better, he would have. But he couldn't. So he's not settling. He got the best he could get. But now that you know he's got delusions of grandeur, are you going to settle?